primary choreography of the system, as far as I can see, is the fluid as it is expressing itself through tissue. So if you look at an octopus and you look at the way the octopus is moving, that is fluid choreographing the tissue organization of the octopus. So, and the octopus is a brilliant representation of a varietal system. It's able to shift, it's able to change its molecular structure, et cetera, in a variety of ways. So there are a couple of implications in this that I think, and this is just as an aside, I want to put this into your head. This is a lot of what I think about all the time, is if a system was not bound in time, would it be susceptible to the impact of the environment? I just want to show you something in relation to fluidity. So the more conventional meaning in time would look kind of like this, where you have a lot of peaks without too many valleys. And the flow of information is in the valley, not in the peak. Trauma, paralysis, anything like that looks like this. It collapses the valley. This is what paralysis looks like, meaning that there is, or severe trauma would look like this also, meaning that the umbilical cord or the primary biocosmic nourishment is cut off.
And in craniosacral terms, you look at this as an energy cyst. This would be where, the body has just walled it off and it's set it aside because the system can't deal with it in the moment, and so it collapses, walls it off, and separates it from our day-to-day reality.
So let's just say that if you're in this or in this, which is pretty common, that your system has very limited versatility. And in that limitation of versatility, it makes the system more vulnerable to the impact of the environment.
We lose resilience when you're living from this state.
So good so far? So I'm talking about basic bottom-up existence, you know, having to do with the fluid play of life. Okay, so one of the most important things for humanoids to understand is that we want to open up that valley. So we want to be able to get something that looks like this. So that there's, the valley gets more evident because the flow of information is in the valley, not in the peak. The peak is there to maintain the organization. The peak would be the yang to the yin of the valley. So here you have this would be excessive yang, no yin, and this has a little bit of yin, not too much. So it's very interesting. I also want to mention that in this, electronics is also part of this. I want to mention that electronics creates speed, and what speed does is it collapses the interval. And so what that does is it creates isolation. And personally, I think all this Facebook, Twittering, all of that is there because of the actual isolation, social isolation that's going on. It's a desperate attempt to connect because this and this is happening more and more. The greater the valley, the more connected everything becomes. This is my opinion. Okay, so more or less. Okay, so one of the things that I've learned over the years in working with spinal cord injury is that how do you move this? The most efficient way to move that is through sound. That water carries sound more efficiently than anything else. And what sound does, it begins to jostle the compression of the fluid molecules as they are locking up in tissue. That's the kindest way to work with it.